Hello and a very warm welcome to the brand new edition of Policy Watch. I'm Kriti Mishra. In a first, the Indian Railways will have its own Commando unit known as Commandos for Railway Security. The Commando unit will consist of Railway Protection Force and Railway Protection Special Force personnel. The Commandos will undergo 4 sessions in 9 locations in the country. The training program includes basic and advanced commando courses with specialization in handling crises such as hostage rescue and super specialization for sniping, breaching, handling landmines and improvised explosive devices. The force will be deployed on trains in Naxal-prone areas, Jammu and Kashmir and parts of northeastern states like Tripura and Manipur. And to get deeper insights, I am joined by Mr. Arun Kumar, DG, RPF, Mr. P.K. Mishra, security expert, Mr. Prempal Sharma, former Executive Director, Railway Board. Welcome to Rajya Sabha Television, all of you. Mr. Arun Kumar, let me come to you first. Railways Minister has already inducted the first batch of Commandos for Railway Security. Tell us about the functions and the role of Chorus.
In fact, we have come up with this new force, Chorus, which we call Commandos for Railway Security, because we felt the necessity of this specialized force in internally where the challenges of internal security is high in the country, like Naxal affected area. We are running trains there. We are running trains in new projects that are coming in the northeastern area like Tripura, Manipur and all that, which was affected and is still partly affected with the insurgency problem. Then we are running trains in the valley, and we are already running at around 134 kilometers in Kashmir Valley and coming up with more than 100 kilometer additional track. So, the necessity was felt based on the past experiences that railway needs trained commando forces which can handle issues in these problematic areas. So, we are already having around 15 battalions of RPSF, which we call Railway Protection Security Force, and we decided to convert 1 battalion totally into the commando battalion. And for that we planned their induction, training and all those things. It started almost a year back, and we went through the various phases of training, and now they are fully trained. And as you said that on 14th of August this year, Honorable Minister of Railway has inducted this particular force in the Indian Railways, and we have started deploying them, and I hope that they will perform well and very useful for the railway security.
You mentioned about threat perception, and let me take that to Mr. Mishra. Mr. Mishra, there's increasing threat perception to railway system in India in terms of terrorists or extremists. In that context, tell us about the importance of Chorus.
Yes, I have listened to Mr. Arun Kumar and congratulate you for bringing out a commando battalion in RPF and RPSF. I have seen in the last 2 to 3 years, particularly, let me go back to Jamui, when the train was coming, and the Jamui, the Naxalites, they stopped the train and they thought perhaps a battalion of CRPF is moving in that train. It was a special train, but however, they couldn't get CRPF boys, but they got RPF boys. One was, in fact, one became Shahid and 2 weapons were snatched. Several such incidents happened in West Bengal and Bihar and also in Naxal affected areas. And last, what has happened, the train has now reached, it has gone to Tripura, but it goes, while going to Tripura, it passes through Manipur. Manipur and Silchar, those belt, I was posted there. I know there are 37 militant groups in Manipur, and any moment anything can happen in that particular stretch when the train is passing via Manipur. Tripura, of course, is better now, but going via Manipur is a problematic. Security for the passengers and security for your goods. You are not sure whether you can reach Tripura properly or not. So now the valley also is having trains. They are also connecting the line from Katra to Jabhar Tunnel and extending it straight up to Baramulla. There is a challenge to Railway Protection Force and Railway Protection Security Force. It's very good that their vision for this battalion, commando battalion, which they have brought up, that it will be a world-class responder for security, which is what he is telling. And I hope what training was imparted at Gadadri, it will be of world-class training, particularly on basing on improvised explosive devices, various technical equipments to be trained, because you have to have better equipments, better technical equipment, and best type of weapons. So main thing is for a close quarter battle, what RPF needs, they were depending upon state railway police forces in the railway station and mostly on the state railway police. And I know it personally how a state railway police they behave and how is about their training. It's just like that of Home Guard. But things are better now because we needed them. It's the local people, it's the passengers, they needed the security, and now it is coming up. It is nice that last 1 year they were there for the project and they have already trained, and the first battalion has gone. And the way they were selected, they have selected out of these 15 battalions. I was discussing with him, those young boys who are willing, they were motivated, and those young boys who are there within the age group of 25 to 35, they were selected, and about 1,000 to 1,200 as per the strength of that battalion, they were taken to Jagadhri training institution and various other training institutions. They were trained by Cobras and various other instructors, and they are ready for the warlike situation. Why I am telling warlike situation? You go to Jammu, you go to Naxal-hit area. Of course, things are much better now in Naxal-hit area, particularly in Chhattisgarh. Things were hurting up in from 2016-17. Now they are better now, but yet Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand, anything can happen on the railway track. On security for the passengers, you are not sure. So they have to be, these commandos, they can be of a lot of use to our passengers and to their goods and to their to their families when they are passing through this terrain. Go back to Kashmir. Kashmir situation, of course, now for 370 and 35A things are different, and but that doesn't mean that you are getting full protection from Jammu and Kashmir police on particularly the track. It is what the Railway Protection Force should come out of its own to give the protection, and this is what this battalion can provide. So they are having a multiple challenges before them, and the challenges are very big, and it's not only this 1,200 numbers, more battalions should come up, because the requirement will be there everywhere in India. It's not only you are telling it's a Manipur and Tripura and Kashmir and all. This situation can come up anywhere, because you see the area where Naxalites are there in 10. Only yesterday, Mr. Amit Shah, our Home Minister, he had the meeting with Chief Ministers of 10 states, yes, which are affected. So in 10 states, when the trains are moving at night, you have a problem for the Naxalites. They can hit at any point. And why they are hitting? They want the targets, not the civilian. They want the targets of RPF. They want the targets of CRPF. They want to take away the weapons from them. Right. They have already lost the weapons. Now they have to gain the weapons from these Naxalites. I salute to the DGRPF to have come up with this particular battalion, because that will help providing security to all the passengers, and this is particularly the morale of other state reserve police battalion, the SRPs who are now like Coast Guard coming up. Yes. The Coast Guard's effect is there on the border police stations, the coastal police station. They will come up to their expectations. Like that, the state police forces, those who are there, SRPs deployed in railway platforms and railway station, they will also come up to the standard.
Absolutely. So it will have a multiplier impact on different forces as well. Yes. But coming to you, Mr. Sharma, as Mr. Kumar mentioned, that there are several projects that the railways are handling right now that are strategically and economically important. How will commissioning of Chorus address the challenges to these ongoing projects?
In my opinion, railway is a very progressive organization. Progressive meaning the need of the hour. My personal experience says that when we were planning or discussing the new railway line in Chhattisgarh area or northeastern part, or any bridge construction, we were facing this problem. Most of our projects in Chhattisgarh area were getting delayed. At that time also we realized how to do, because state government, as rightly pointed out by my colleagues, was not cooperating that much, and there was a threat also in the entire red corridor. So now railway, as a human resource manager, I can, time and again we have come up with this. if I allow you to take to the, initially we were only construction department, then the transport department, and then then we added electrical, signaling, and in 1957 RPF came. Then we created some RPF security also, and now it's a offshoot of the same RPF organization equipped with the new challenges. Now, as rightly pointed out, if we want to deploy forces in valley, we need some special training, different people. Similarly on Northeast, similarly on Chhattisgarh area. So now I think the very appropriate and this minister, and we must appreciate that they are coming up with the 2 battalion already started, well training. For the training part also we are taking help from SPG and other organization. So I think we will overcome that. Except one part, I feel message must go to the entire red corridor area. No longer you can take with that. So I personally feel that we may not have more battalions. Automatically message must go.
Yes.
RPF is equally equipped, RPF is equally equipped. So this is the only a specialized job they will complete, and then I think railway safety will be and security will be far better than what we have now.
Let's get the insights from Mr. Kumar. Mr. Kumar, Chairman Railway Board mentioned that chorus was a result of detailed policy formulation. Take us through the journey of formation of chorus.
To start with, when I went to our Naxal affected area, I found that many of our RPF people were not confident enough to even wear the uniform. So much threat they were feeling about the Naxals, and our security was mostly dependent on the CAPFs like CRPF, SSB and other such organizations. At that particular time, it occurred to my mind that being a force, why should not we take up this particular challenge ourselves, and let's build a unit which can take the responsibility wholly upon themselves. And that started around a year back, and then we thought that let's have a commando unit first. So we circulated willingness, we asked willingness from our men who are physically able of a particular age limit, younger lot. Then we first gave them the specialized training of a commando, which is a basic requirements, and when they excelled in that, then the chosen one were asked to go for the different fields where they are required to be deployed. Like the people who are supposed to be deployed in the Naxal area, we trained them with the greyhounds, which are known force for tackling Naxalism. Then for the people who are supposed to go into valley or in the insurgency affected area, we took them to the Manesar NSG training. Then we trained them with the NEPA and other such institute who are specializing in this particular thing. And then we called them back again to our own training institute at Jagadri.
Yes.
And in the Jagadri, we gave them railway specific training, that if you have to handle somebody has hijacked a train and has closed from inside, how are you going to open that? How a train is run? What are the mechanism for running a trains? So 3-4 layers of this training were given to them, and then we tested them in some of the important areas, and then they become totally fit to be deployed. And in the same area where our men were fearful of wearing the uniform, now these commandos are securing the railway protection, the railway projects, even the running train. We have started operationalized new railway line from Bhanu Pratappur to Kyoti, which is a heart of Bastar. New rail lines we have started. So now we have first of them, we have been deployed in that particular section to handle the security of that particular area, and slowly they will be in the phases and deployed in other areas also.
Taking a cue from what you said, Mr. Kumar, how would you develop area-specific SOPs for chorus?
As I told you, that was in the mind, because one is that the person who is a commando has to have basic minimum physical standards, basic minimum skill to have firing skills, and other these are the basic for all the commandos. Then once they have acquired this particular skill, the agility, the firing capabilities and all those things, then we go for the area specific training. And the problems in the Naxal areas are different, the problems in the insurgent areas are different, the issues in the valley are different. So the area specific, theatre specific training that we call that we have been given to the forces that were supposed to be deployed in that particular area. And the unit who have just like Greyhound is one of the earliest commando forces which was operationalized by state of Andhra Pradesh, and they have a success story to tell. So we chose that particular thing, and we asked them that this is our requirement and you have to give the area specific training to our men. So they told them that how to remain in jungle, how you survive in a area where the Naxals are also there, where I have to take the operations for 2 days, 3 days in that particular area. So that particular training were given by the Greyhounds, and similarly for the other theatres, the insurgency affected area, for the valley, the issues were different and they were accordingly trained in different theatres. And since their basic work is to secure the railway network and the railway projects that are going on in a big way in these particular area, so for that they were called back to Jagadri and they were trained accordingly to have this railway security primarily in their mind.
So a very calibrated training module was developed for the Koras. But moving on, sir, the vision statement, Mr. Mishra, also mentions about the doctrine of graded response.
Yes.
What is graded response?
You see, they should have a proper response to a situation. The situation can be a hostage situation. The situation may be an attack, the situation may be in attack mode. The situation warrants defensive posture, because you do not know if sometimes you want defensive posture, you want offensive defensive, you want only attack in attack mode, you want in communication mode, you want to be in reserve mode. So you exactly depends upon the situation, which differ from Naxalites area in Chhattisgarh and Bihar and Jharkhand and those area to that of Manipur and Tripura, and also to the valley in Srinagar. That will differ. And what type of threat you are emanating, the threat to you, threat to RPF, threat to the train, threat to the civilian passengers, and threat to the goods and the properties of railway. So this type of situation may arise. So how you will react to a situation, and for that reaction, are you capable to react? The force which is available in that moment, whether you are having sufficient reserve. If you are having sufficient reserve, at which place? Even if you are having a reserve at a particular place, how will they come to your place to help you? Is there a mode to bring them? Will they come by another train, or you can bring them by chopper and drop them? Are you going for helibound operation? I will request Mr. Arun Kumar also to next go for helibound operation training, if he can arrange for this commando battalions and the troops, because they are the best in RPSF. I shall personally request Mr. Arun Kumar, because he is sitting very close to me, to go for helibound operation, because this is where your reserve can come to a response to help you, either to extract you or to give you the more strength, give you arms and ammunition. Next is what RPF required, what that commando is Koras, it requires what type of weapon. The weapon, definitely what the need will be up to LMG level. It cannot be more than that, like that the border forces or the CRPF, the need, it will be up to LMG level, because maximum up to 300 yards or 300 meters or 500 meters, that is what is required. So you need what type of LMG. BMG is not required. What type of close quarter battle weapons you need, and what type of ammunition you need, what type of magazine you need. Then main thing is communication. Suppose you are going in a train, so communication from compartment to compartment, communication from your location to your headquarters, where it is the nearest headquarters is there, communication to all other trains passing, where your boys are also there in the train, particularly in Naxal affected area. That is what is required. So
absolutely, sir. You're making a very important point. Let's get a response from Mr. Kumar. How would you address these challenges?
Very useful suggestions that has come from Mr. Mishra, and actually we have tried to inculcate a lot of factors in the training. As far as the heli-borne operations are concerned, in the basic training that we give the people in the Manesar and other places, there it's inborn, and in fact in the this NSG training center at Manesar, they have simulated the live situation where they are trying to do the heli-borne operation also. Recently, with our help, they have a railway track of 100 meter where they have put up one rail bogie, and there they teach the commandos to operate in that particular situation. So various situation in which can happen, that is simulated in these training programs, and the boys are being asked that how to respond when this particular situation comes. So, as Mr. Misra said that in the Naxal scenario, we had that incident in Jamui. A few years back, we had an incident in Bengal where the whole train and the passengers were kept on ransom.
Yes.
So, all these situations we give them as a practical exercise and try to simulate them. And to our Honorable Minister told in that inauguration that they will be given the best possible training, and we are in touch with the best trainers from the other countries also. And all these things that Mr. Misra has told, we are already in a process to call the trainers from the other country also, and will ensure that they get the best of the training possible as far as the internationally the best possible available training will be given to these particular commandos which have been set by our Honorable Minister on the day of the induction. And that is why we are simulating all these things, and especially we are trying to give them special training. Right now, as I told you that we are running a train section in valley from Badgam to Baramulla. That is 134 kilometer. But now our highest bridge is coming over Jhelum in valley. Then we will be in a position to connect right from Katra to Baramulla. So that will be a huge section, and there will be a lot of challenges in that particular area. Right. And the requirement, the professional requirement, as far as the communication is concerned, as far as the type of weapons are concerned, that will be different, and accordingly we will be providing them all these facilities.
I'll take that to Mr. Sharma. Mr. Sharma, since we're talking about global best practices, so what are the global best practices for ensuring railway safety and security?
Now, you know these extraordinary situations, what we realize from our past experiences, and we should not forget that these groups are assisted by some foreign agencies also, with all equipments and weaponry and whatnot. So now we have to realize this is not that you know the whole country, what the IB reports and they say. So we have to take into account these aspects also, as rightly pointed out to Mr. Kumar. So whatever experience we have from our other agencies, paramilitary forces, whether it is BSF or NSG, so now, and with the latest weaponry, so they are being given these kind of training. Now I would like to add one more aspects also.
Yes, sir.
You know, now our criminals and these areas, they are very brilliant minds. No longer they are the educational qualification what we require for a constable or the inspectors maybe, because they are quite qualified with all kind of engineering backgrounds and with the many the international groups also. So we have to keep in mind that our chorus people are equally well equipped to face that challenge. This is what as a manpower planning, we can feel it.
I have last.
And plus, one
yes,
more,
sir.
the incentive also, the challenge, the risk factor is also equally important. If we
Yes,
are
sir.
creating for a special particular emergencies, then we have to provide those incentives also to these people.
Absolutely. Last 60 seconds. And Mr. Kumar, what would be the special attire for chorus?
We had formed a committee, and the committee has selected a uniform, particular uniform, which will be useful for them in a different area, and we will be providing them that particular dress as well as the additional attire that is required for a commando, and soon we will be providing them. And as Mr. Sharma told about the incentive, very good things he said, and but we have a standard practice in the MHA scenario that we have a matrix of risk and hardship. So maximum risk and maximum hardship, maximum emoluments we give them.
Right.
Similarly, we form a matrix, and accordingly the incentives will be given to the chorus commandos.
All right, so those are very constructive suggestions that are coming. On that note, thank you so much for joining us. So this new unit will strengthen the railway security in the country. That's all we had for you in this edition of Policy Watch. Thanks for watching and stay tuned to Rajya Sabha Television.